They shoved him into the gutter and laughed until the city lights blurred because, in their telling, humiliation was entertainment. But when the cop raised his hand to break a man's spirit in public, he didn't know he had pressed the wrong button inside a man who had been learning quietly how to turn every slight into a capital. This is not the story of a madman blowing up a city for fun. It's the story of a man who learned the language of pain and answered with a kind of justice so cold and precise it felt like mercy. Want to see how a single public humiliation can ignite a revenge that changes everything? Subscribe now and join us. Subscribe now so you don't miss what happens next. The rain didn't fall hard that night. It hovered, suspended in the air, like the city itself was holding its breath. The Joker stood on the sidewalk outside a closed subway entrance, his coat too thin for the cold, his face painted not for laughter, but for armor. People passed him without seeing him. That was the first mistake Gotham always made. Then the sirens arrived. A patrol car slid to a stop like it owned the street. The door opened slowly, deliberately, as if timing mattered more than urgency. Officer Randall stepped out. Broad shoulders, clean badge. The kind of man who smiled only when he was certain someone else would be afraid. "Well, look what crawled out of the circus," Randall said loudly, making sure nearby phones were already lifted. "What are you doing here, clown?" The Joker looked up. His eyes weren't wild. They were calm, curious, almost disappointed. "I'm waiting," he said softly. "For what?" Randall asked, circling him like a predator playing with instinct. Another handout? Another excuse? The Joker didn't answer. Silence annoyed men like Randall more than insults ever could. Randall shoved him, hard enough to send him stumbling into a puddle. Laughter followed. A few people filmed. No one intervened. The city had learned that looking away was safer. "Get up," Randall ordered. "Dance for us." The Joker rose slowly, water dripping from his coat, makeup streaked just enough to look pathetic. He smiled, but not the wide, manic grin people feared. This one was small, controlled. "You ever notice," Joker said quietly, "how humiliation feels different when it's rehearsed?" Randall frowned. "What did you say?" "I said," Joker continued, louder now, "you've done this before. Same lines, same crowd, same ending. You feel bigger for a moment, then you go home empty." That was when Randall slapped him. The sound cracked through the street. Phones zoomed in. Someone gasped. The Joker's head snapped to the side, his cheek burning, his smile gone, for just a second. Then it returned. Different now. Sharper. Randall leaned close. "Stay down next time. You clowns forget your place." He turned back toward the patrol car, already satisfied. That was the second mistake. The Joker didn't shout, didn't threaten. He simply spoke. Softly, carefully, like a man finishing a thought. "You should have asked my name." Randall paused but didn't turn around. The Joker watched the car pull away, lights flashing briefly before disappearing into the maze of streets. Around him, people scattered. Phones went dark. The puddle reflected his face back at him, distorted, broken, but still smiling. He wiped his cheek and laughed under his breath, not because it was funny, because it was familiar. That night, the Joker walked. No destination, just movement. The city whispered to him as it always did, through flickering streetlights, boarded windows, and alleyways that remembered things people tried to forget. He passed murals of fallen heroes, names half erased, promises abandoned. In a diner near the river, a television played quietly. Officer Randall's face appeared on the screen. "Commended for bravery," the headline read. The Joker sat in a corner booth, sipping cold coffee, listening. "He's one of the good ones," the anchor said, "a protector of the public." The Joker chuckled. A woman across from him flinched. Later, much later, Randall stood alone in a parking garage, fumbling with his keys. The echo of footsteps behind him made him turn. No one was there. "Hello?" he called out, irritation creeping into his voice. From the shadows, the Joker stepped forward. Not painted now, not theatrical. Just a man with tired eyes and a voice steady as a blade. "Do you remember me?" Joker asked. Randall's hand dropped to his belt. "You shouldn't be here. You shouldn't have touched me," Joker replied. "But here we are. Funny how choices work." Randall laughed nervously. "You think you're scary? You're nothing." Joker tilted his head. "That's what you told yourself when you started. When you crossed the line the first time, when you realized no one was watching. Randall's face drained of color. You don't want trouble, Randall said. No, Joker agreed. I want balance. The lights flickered. The air felt heavier. Randall took a step back. You see, Joker continued, this city doesn't punish monsters. It promotes them. So someone has to remind it what fear feels like. Before Randall could speak, his phone buzzed. A message appeared. Then another and another. Photos, names, places. Randall's knees buckled. What is this? He whispered. Joker leaned closer, his voice almost kind. Your reflection. As the garage lights snapped back on, the Joker was already walking away, whistling softly, leaving Randall alone with the sound of his own breathing and the sudden realization that this humiliation was only the beginning. And somewhere above them, the city smiled back, unaware that its joke had just learned how to punch back. Officer Randall didn't sleep that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the man in the garage. Not the paint, not the smile, but the calm. The kind of calm that didn't rush, didn't threaten, didn't need permission. By morning, Randall was already unraveling, snapping at dispatch, watching shadows linger a second too long. The city noticed before he did. Rumors spread quietly. Not online headlines, not sirens, just whispers. A cop reassigned, a promotion frozen, a commendation quietly removed from a plaque no one talked about anymore. Randall told himself it was coincidence. He had always believed in coincidence. It was easier than accountability. The Joker watched from a distance, never close enough to be seen, never far enough to miss the cracks forming. He didn't rush revenge. He cultivated it, let it breathe, let it grow teeth on its own. One evening, Randall stood in uniform outside a courthouse, face stiff for the cameras. Protesters yelled, signs waved. Someone threw a cup that shattered near his boots. He didn't react. He couldn't afford to. That was when he heard the laughter. Soft, familiar, not behind him, inside him. You're learning, the Joker said suddenly beside him, dressed like any other man in the crowd. No paint, no theatrics. Randall froze, eyes forward. You're dead if anyone sees you talking to me. The Joker smiled faintly. Funny thing about crowds, they see what they expect. What do you want? Randall whispered through clenched teeth. I already told you, Joker replied. Balance. That night a trial collapsed. A witness changed their story. A case Randall had buried years ago clawed its way back into daylight. Not with drama, with patience, with timing so perfect, it felt like fate. Randall drank more, snapped more. The badge grew heavier on his chest, like it knew it didn't belong there anymore. When the internal hearing finally came, there were no cameras, no cheers, just a quiet room and a panel of tired faces asking questions. Randall had rehearsed answers for his entire career. But rehearsals don't help when the script changes. Outside, rain tapped against the windows. Inside, Randall's voice cracked. I was doing my job, he insisted. The Joker sat in the back row, barely noticeable, hands folded, eyes attentive. He wasn't enjoying this. That was the strange part. There was no thrill in watching Randall fall apart, only recognition. Because once, long ago, the Joker had been on the other side of a table like this. Not for crimes, for excuses, for suffering no one wanted to name. The hearing ended without applause, without forgiveness. Randall walked out alone. That was when the city turned its back. No friends, no calls, no uniform. Just a man standing in the open, exposed, finally seen. He found the Joker waiting near the river, neon reflections trembling in the dark water. You ruined me, Randall said, voice hollow. No, Joker replied gently. You ruined yourself. I just stopped the echo. Randall laughed bitterly. So what now? You going to finish it? The Joker looked at him for a long moment. You think this was about destroying you, wasn't it? The Joker stepped closer, his voice dropping. This was about teaching you what it feels like when the world doesn't look away. Randall's shoulders sagged. For the first time, there was no anger left, only exhaustion. I thought people like you deserved it, he whispered. So did they, Joker said. That's how it starts. Silence stretched between them. The river carried it away. I could turn myself in, Randall said weakly. Confess everything. The Joker shook his head. That would make you a martyr. Heroes get remembered. I don't want that. He turned to leave, then paused. You'll live, Joker added. That's the punishment. Days passed, then weeks. The city moved on. It always did. But something had changed. Cops hesitated before raising their voices. Bystanders filmed with steadier hands. A few walked forward instead of away, not because of fear, but because the silence felt heavier than risk. And the Joker? He vanished again, not hunted, not chased, just absent. Until one morning, a new mural appeared beneath an overpass. Not a clown, not a monster, just a cracked mirror painted on concrete. Under it, 4 words were written in uneven letters. Look at yourself first. No signature, no explanation. People stopped. Some nodded, some scoffed. Some felt uneasy without knowing why. Far away, the Joker watched the city breathe, his reflection faint in a shop window. The smile on his face wasn't wide or wild. It was tired, because heroes save people. But sometimes someone has to scare the truth out of them, and the city would never admit it. But for the first time in a long while, it was listening. Some stories end with justice. Others end with silence. If this one made you question who the real villain was, then the Joker already did his job. Stay with us, because the next story won't ask for your sympathy. It will demand your attention.